Hello.
Hi, Damian.
You're a squirrel.
I am a squirrel. Little known fact.
That's it. And you're a red one. You're quite endangered.
I am a. Let me just see if the video works all right.
Hey.
Hi, Edwina. We've never actually chatted, have we?
I know.
A long-term fan.
Stop it. What a treat for you.
Don't say that, Damian. I'll never hear the end of it.
Everybody, and welcome to episode 46 of Run to the Hills. This week we have a catch up with Damian Hall, all about his new book and also his recent coast to coast FKT triumph. But we just have a general catch up chat with him as well. What a nice guy, hilarious. I think he's definitely one of our new best friends, though we say that after every host. And I have to apologize. I disappear 3/4 of the way through because my pickup fell through for the kids. So I had to go and get them from school. But that's real life, isn't it, Gary? That's the way it rumbles. And you carried it on like a professional.
Rolled with it.
How are you, Gary? For those that don't watch this on YouTube, I know some people don't, and listen to it as a podcast, Gary is wearing his race finishers t-shirt.
First race t-shirt
How are you? And I've already mocked you, but I'm going to mock you again, Mr. I've got a chest infection, but I'm also going to finish third at St. Cuthbert's Way.
Oh, well, I did get medication for my chest infection, so I think although I feel a bit chesty now again, but yeah,
how did it go? Talk us through the weekend.
Well, we camped out, had two dreadful nights.
I was like getting into bed, I think, and you were like, we're just getting there and putting the tent up. I was like, oh, it sounds awful.
But it was a lovely evening. And there was, in the campsite, they had lots of wildlife, bunny rabbits, ducks and geese and things just all wandering around.
Only 5-year-olds call bunny rabbits, Gary.
But it was wicked. They were just coming along and having a little cheep to see what we're doing.
Were they talking to you?
Yeah, it was so tame. It was lovely. So we pitched, just my friend forgot his ear protectors, ear defenders, so he had a dreadful night's sleep. I was okay. I had a pretty good night's sleep considering. And then early start. Well, you have a choice of wave 1 or wave 2 with this race, depending on how confident you were of getting to Holy Island before the tide came in or went out. I'm not too sure what the tide was doing. But so we had a choice on the night of registration to go to the earlier start, so we had more time. But the race was billed as like race the tide. So I thought we should try and race the tide. Let's have a bit of jeopardy with the event. So that's what we did. We stayed in wave 2. And so we had a luxury. We had an extra 2 hours in bed. So our start wasn't until 9 o'clock.
Oh, the perfect time.
It was great. So we got the bus, went down this car park, and they bussed us off to Melrose. And then off we went. It's funny, it's about 8,000 feet of ascent, the race. And you'd think over that kind of mileage, it's relatively easy, but it takes a different toll on your body when it's a bit faster. And there was quite
a run.
Yeah. And my groin was aching, quads were aching. There was quite a lot of kind of road or hard trail. And it's funny, we've just got off a conversation with Charlie, and he was doing his splits for the last 5 mile on the Bob Graham round. And I was thinking I couldn't get anywhere near that. When I was going along Holy Island, the last 3 mile, which is all tarmac causeway, I was happy if I did, I think, a 10-minute mile. I was pretty pleased with myself. It was the accumulation of just that running without any. I love the bits. There was some bits where you go through like lovely trails through forests, and you were jumping over tree roots, and you're lots of different kind of planting your feet differently.
Yeah.
I could eat that up all day in theory, but that repetitiveness on the road, my goodness me, that took a toll. But yeah, it was brilliant. Again, it's funny because we saw the lead group shoot off, and then I had no real concept where I was in the race. I knew kind of top 5, top 6-ish, but then I always kind of think someone might drop out, that's 60-odd mile.
Yeah, you got to race all the way.
And I went past a couple of guys, and then somebody told me I was first, which I knew wasn't probably true. And then someone else told me I was second, which I thought, well, that might be, kind of doing some rough maths. It turned out I was third, which, my goodness me, to get a proper podium finish.
Bringing home the bacon.
Not an age group or anything like that.
Oh, we
Legit.
don't have any of that. None of that. This isn't triathlon.
But it was a race, Eddie. I got myself into a race with a guy. I had a conversation with him, and I think I confused myself. And I thought he was leg one, which meant he wasn't in a race with me because he started 3.5 hours earlier. I thought in theory. So I've confused myself somewhere down the line. Turns out he was wave 2, and that was kind of passed on to me by another runner that we kind of met on our journey. And then it was like, my goodness me, I'm actually could race this guy. And all I was saying about my groin, my quads, everything, when the adrenaline goes through your body, all of those aches and pains from not being able to do a 10-minute mile, all of a sudden now can do like a sub 9-minute mile. It was like really weird. And then when I caught him and I looked at his face and he was like, you again kind of look. And as soon as I got past him, I ran another mile, maybe quite hard. And then all the adrenaline went and all the aches and pains came back. And I was just like hanging on after that. But yeah, third, my goodness me, I can't believe it. I'd said the other week, I don't want to be a sandbagger. I was going to put an honest account.
You were very truthful, very truthful.
And yeah, I did it. I ran a heart rate, kept it pretty consistent. And I let the group go off. I didn't chase them.
Proud of that.
Yeah. And it, for the most part, rained all but 2 in. So I had a wonderful, can't grumble, can you?
How was the fueling? How was the kit?
Kit, yeah, all that was fine. Shoes got a bit hot, and again, because there's not going to be a perfect shoe on a good split of road and trail. So my Terra Ultras were fine. I would have liked a bit more cushioning, so maybe we should have went for the Trail Flies, I suppose. Kit, no malfunctions. The hydration vest I've got, the Montane Gecko, whatever it's called, very good. Yeah. I love that vest. I did have some Kendall mint cake issues again. I think it's just too much of it. It kind of burnt my throat or something because I was just having these, talk about highs and lows in a big race. For maybe about 3 miles, I was just coughing to the point of gagging. And especially, this kind of climate we're in with COVID and stuff, you don't really want to be coming up to people coughing and spluttering.
Spreading.
Spreading. So
spreading.
I was very kind of covering my mouth as I was going.
Kendall mint cake.
Yeah, spreading out. But luckily the jelly babies and that kind of stuff would go down. The flapjack was good. Flapjack was really good on the bus, actually, the Chia Charge flapjack, because I had that as my breakfast. So I had my porridge. Then on the bus on the journey over, I had kind of something a bit more solid with the Chia Charge flapjack. Hydration, that was fine. I didn't have many toilet stops. Normally, if you ever share the miles with me, Eddie, I'll pop into the bush quite often for a little nature.
Coming in with you, whatever you say.
Little nature break.
A nature break.
But I had about 3 wees in 12 hours, which that's not like me. But
do you normally have more wees?
I had on leg 5 of the Bob Graham round, the last 5 miles, I could have been in double figures wees.
No way.
Yeah.
Because I have to force myself. I can easily do 100 miler with no wheeze. I have to force myself to wee because I get them, listeners, but it's good to overshare. I always get really bad bladder infections then because I don't wee, and then you get so dehydrated. And you're like, normally I wee like I don't know what animal wees a lot, but I normally wee a lot because I drink so much tea. But I go for hours and suddenly think, oh my God, I've gone all day without weeing. Then I don't wee, and then I always get, and then I have to come back, and our doctor here, his kids go to our school, I have to go and wee in a cup, and he's like, you've been to a race, haven't you? You didn't drink again. You must fit in pee-pee. And so now I'm like, after like 5 hours, if I haven't weed, I'm like, I've got to take, because also I'm always racing, so I'm like, don't have time to do a wee. It's so much. It's harder for a girl though. You can just like.
That's true. Yeah.
Just,
get it out.
You have to find a space, and then if someone comes along and you can't, then you got to take everything down. And then... I'm super proud of you. A proper race.
Got a t-shirt. Got a trophy. Well, it's not really a trophy. Should I get it out?
Trophy.
Drum roll.
It's a glass trophy.
Can we see that? Is that very good? Is that?
St.
Yeah.
Cuthbert's Way Ultra 100k, third place, with the race director leaning forward in what looks like he's got some terrible trapped wind.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not going to. I don't get many of those, Eddie. That's on the mantelpiece.
That is good. First podcast trophy of the year.
Yeah. No pressure for you this weekend, though.
Oh, there won't be any trophies. I'll be around in one piece.
Anyway, enough about me and my glorious.
Can I just say, having a little rest now?
Oh yeah. Well, I've got Sean Kennedy's buggering around 2 weeks today. 2 weeks the weekend. Well, anyway, a couple of weeks. End of the month. Sorry, maybe end of the month. So, but yeah, that's it. No training. Just going out with Rex, walking and jogging. Get Sean's bob out the way. You're not going to like this, but I'm not training for London Marathon. I'm training for Valencia. I'm going to have a good.
Are you
rest.
not going to do London Marathon?
Oh yeah, I'm going to do it.
Well, we can talk about that. Let's talk about that another time because I want to talk to you about that as well. We'll sandbag that totally together in another episode.
Yeah, PBs. But what about you, Eddie? What's your life been like?
Well, I had a bit of a meltdown end of last week. So I had some really hard sessions to do, shorter sessions, and I'm just my own worst enemy because I can't control myself. I just have to I can't do a session that says do not go too hard. I just push myself.
You're the coach.
Oh my God, it's terrible. So I worked really hard. I mean, I did have to work really hard, but I probably all of them worked really hard. And I did Saturday, 8 by 3 minutes. Oh, I was pretty broken after that. I was like, oh yeah, let's tick that one off. Done. And I had a little wobble. I was like, oh, I am feeling like I can't do it. I can't do this. This is, and I'm sharing this because everybody feels like this, but I internalize it so much. And I was like, I'm not fit. I'm really unfit. I'm really fat. I can't do this. It's what am I doing? I can't even, not even going to finish. And it gets big in my head. And then the minute I say it to my husband and I'm like, I'm feeling like this. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about? Let's rewind here. Let's break this down. And as soon as I say it, I'm like, I feel ridiculous even saying this because I have put hours and hours of training. But I think a lot of it is because I haven't done a race. Oh my God. The last race I did as like a jog round back in February, a year and a half ago. And then before that, it was like, I did a 100-miler post. I broke my foot doing a 100-miler in June. And then I managed to get fit again in October, just because I really wanted to do some 100-miler. And so that was 2019. Wow. So it's a long time ago that I've actually raced. And I think as well, I've trained so hard and I've done a lot of different stuff and I've put a lot of eggs in a basket. And then there's a what ifs it all goes wrong. But then
different stuff, I suppose, could play on your mind, couldn't it? Because if it's something new.
Oh, it's different. But like, what if it goes, does it matter? Not in the least.
Well, yeah, this is it.
We can talk about it on the podcast, how like I fell off a mountain or how I cried and I had to get one of the kids to finish.
I've chatted with Justin, my friend, about this. Like, you're so wrapped up in yourself and you think other people care. And we've all got busy lives. They're not. Justin is a really good friend of mine, but he doesn't care what really happens to me on a race. And yeah,
nobody cares. Like, yeah, seriously.
Not even my wife cares. Really?
The kids are just like, do we have to come and watch you? Does that mean we have to come watch you?
Yeah.
But I'm super. So anyway, I've had like 2 days off. So I'm tapering, like following my taper to the letter. And the minute I started tapering, like I had a day off, I had a bit more perspective. This is another good lesson I want to share with people is that when you're tired, of course you think, oh my God, I can't do this. And then the minute you start resting, suddenly you're like, oh, hello, I've got the twitch. I can do this. I can start thinking about the race. I can not be in denial and I can open my gel box and actually check I've got some gels.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked. I mean, it's not my forte. It's 38K, 3,000 meters of climbing. So there's a lot of climbing, but I need another like 100K to really show my strength. But I do like, I like going in the Hurt Locker. So I'm going to just put
race,
myself
Eddie. You're going to do
straight
well.
in the Hurt Locker and go as fast as I can uphill, and then just hold on for dear life with my eyes half shut coming downhill. Sadly, it is raining from now until the race, and there's a lot of rocky technical descent. So that's going to slightly jeopardize.
Have you got any kind of kit, your special kit that you're going to use, shoes in mind?
I wear my Scott Ultra Tracks, which I love. Nice bit of cushioning, great grip. I mean, literally the grip's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'll have my vest on. I don't think I'm going to take poles. If I take poles, I get a bit lazy. I become a happy hiker. But then it's going to be really slippy on the descent. Maybe the poles might save my butt. But
could you have Brain to kind of pass you kit halfway around, or is that not allowed?
I don't ever like to do that, because if something happened and he wasn't there, what do? I like to be self-sufficient, so I won't, but I'll be totally self-sufficient. And I'm just looking forward to opening up that Hurt Locker and putting myself in it and seeing.
Don't leave the key at home. Got to have the key on you.
No, the key's not coming. Giving that to Evie, my youngest. She won't give that back. My God, she'd be like, "Get out there, Mum. You make us do all this stuff. You get out there." Yeah, I'm stoked. I think as well, I never fully embrace the taper enough. And that's something that my coach is really, he's like, he even sent me, this is how great he is, and I much love him. He sent me his file of what he did before he won the World Trail Championships the week before.
Yeah.
He's like, if you doubt yourself, look at what I did and be reassured that many people, and again, a life lesson for us all, don't taper enough. So I'm like, okay, trust the process, Gary.
Yeah.
Process. So I will do my best for you, for everybody, but I know ultimately nobody cares.
Nobody cares. I care, Eddie.
You care. You just want some funny story. So, loads of races. We almost can't, the spreadsheet is brimming with
busy
races.
Race schedule,
busy races. We had the 100K GB trials for the World Trail Championship. I was a bit like, well, this is a bit of a farce, isn't it? Because there's like 4 people in each race. Loads of people can't go. It's not been very well advertised. That's not a championship race anyway, but the racing at the top end was really, really good. George Foster, Nick Swinburne in the male category, and Merrill Cooper and Joe Meek. I mean, they said top 2 places will be consideration for the British team. With the World Championships are in Thailand, that well-known place for trail running. I think it's in November. I mean, whether that will happen, they've cancelled the World 24-hour Championship, so it seems a bit like farcical to let the trail championships happen, but who knows. Super racing, love seeing racing, top end of the field. Only wish the field could be super deep.
Paul Nelson was out on the fells for 36 hours. My goodness, Eddie.
I'm moaning about like my 6 to 7 hours. 36 hours.
Super talented guy, like a Peter Pan of the trails, and a generous guy. You put out the call for help, say on a Bob Graham round, and Paul Nelson will stick his hand up.
Well, almost everyone we've talked about the Bob Graham round, he's come up in the conversation, hasn't he? As the guy to be out there. St. Cuthbert's Way. 100K Ultra. I heard this was closely fought. I mean, pretty much like the British Trail Championships. John Melbourne in 10:26. How far off that were you? Not that far.
Oh my goodness me, I was just under 12 hours, so about an hour and a half away from John.
Seconds, Gary. And Julie Bethune in 14 hours, 42 minutes. And you met some cool people, I heard.
It was fantastic on the trails. Because as you go past people, you'd say hello, as stuff like that. And they're like, "Oh, you're from the podcast," and stuff like that. And at the end, people.
Did people recognize your voice? Hello, Gary.
Yeah, we all talk like that about you. That's the kind of region.
You have "I'm Gary" on your T-shirt.
I've got Run the Hills branded everything when I'm running around. No, just people listen to the show. And I think it's funny, a friend of mine, Jason, was doing the race too. And I think he was talking at the finish. You might know my friend. He does a podcast. And then as he was having that conversation, I think I rolled into the finish. So it was like, they were just been talking about me, which was fantastic. But it was a lovely bunch of people. I felt spoiled all day, and at the end, as pampered as you can be with COVID and stuff going around. But well looked after, a great event, and to get some positive comments from the our community was the icing on the cake. Or a lovely day.
What a lovely day. I don't think anyone's going to know me out on the French trails.
Never know, Eddie. The
Never.
reach of this podcast.
You've popped in Austrian Backyard Ultra.
Well, yeah, friend Peter from the
Peter.
yeah, he loves the show. Very supportive, great support of the show. He sent me a message saying it's the first Austrian Backyard Ultra, and a lady took the overall win, Angelika Humatov, 214k, and then Marcus Scheider, 207k. I'm not too sure the details of the laps and anything like that, but yeah, first Backyard Ultra in Austria, and it was a lady that won it. Fantastic. What else we got? Centurion again.
Centurion went over woods. There was 100 miles, and there's also a 50k option. And you won't know this, Gary, but it's round this very popular place called Wendover Woods, and they've made a 10-mile loop round there. And there's a 50-mile option, and then they decided that wasn't hard enough, so they made this 100-mile option.
That's
10 lots of 10-mile laps.
I think that's a big loop. That I don't like a 10-mile lap.
Oh God, no!
6 mile.
6 max. 5, 4. 10 10-mile loops with 20,000 feet of climbing, not per loop, but over the whole thing. 50 starters, 49 starters, 18 finishers. I mean, that shows you how hard it is. Also, because you're coming back in after every 10 miles and someone's Centurion volunteers are legendary and they'd kick them out, but that's, oh my gosh, you talk about your quads, but their quads hurt. Yeah. Sebastien Betouret, he's French. Bravo, Sebastian, chapeau. 21 hours, 53 minutes. And Magda Strajanska. I had to copy and paste that in because I wasn't sure of the spelling. 28 hours and 14 seconds.
Fantastic.
Kudos.
Well, Jason Cavill.
I just wanted to have a quick shout out to Super BFF Jason Cavill, who did the Pinnacle Ridge Extreme Race. Oh my God, his pictures he put up on Facebook. I've skied with Jason and he is balmy. He is never, ever trust him or follow him off any sort of ridge. But I can imagine him at this. The Pinnacle Ridge Extreme Race, 18 miles, 8,000 feet over 18 miles. There's pictures of him like climbing up rocks, lots of scrambling. He came in second place, but I just wanted to give him a big shout out because it's taken him a long time to recover from the spine. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. They were my first guests after John died, and I was really shaky about doing the podcast again. And they were like, well, come on, and we'll make a nice transition. And so he's got himself back fit and doing so great to see him out racing again. Well done, Jason.
Did it, I've not seen any pictures, but was it pinnacles and ridges?
Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness.
It looks not maybe for us.
No.
I like a ridge in my own pace.
Yeah.
Let's not race across it.
Walking pace would be nice. Well done, Jason.
Points of contact, Gary.
Yeah, for. Oh yes, thanks, Eddie. Yeah, this week it is Damian Hall. New book, well, not so new actually, and a not so new FKT2, but lots to chat with Damian about. Apologies for the audio on this. I'm not too sure whose internet it was, but we were cutting out a few times over Damien. Yeah, he's super fast, isn't he? But maybe he needs to speed up his internet. So.
He needs to get, what's his name? The guy that does the adverts with the Wi-Fi, Kevin Bacon, who's always going, he needs to get
him around.
He just needs to get around sort of the internet. Oh, I loved his chat. If you haven't read his book, it's a great read. Every page is a little bit of every page is one of those pages where you're like, oh, that's such a good quote, or that's such a good thought. So here is our chat with Damo. We are delighted to welcome to the show Damian Hall this week.
I tried to find every race result I possibly could, but then I decided I needed to edit a little bit because we were on a little bit of a timescale. But here's a brief summary of his many accolades. He's podium at the Spine race, the Dragon's Back race. He's completed UTMB not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 times. He's completed MDS, the Arctic Ultra in Sweden. He's also, it's not enough for him. Oh no, he set FKTs on the Pennine Way, the Paddy Buckley Round, the Southwest Coastal Path, South Wales Traverse, and the Cape Wrath Trail with friend of the show. We call her friend of the show, I'm sure she is, Beth Pascal. Welcome to Run to the Hills, Damian Hall. What a treat.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. that was all very kind. Although, you know, Gary's just done a Bob Graham wearing a silly hat. So
Let's just talk to Gary. How are you? Where are you? And have you been for a run today?
yes, I have been for a run. What did I do today? I had a sort of hybrid workout today. First workout since quite a long run the other week. So it was just 5 times 1 minute hills. So a sort of getting back into it workout. I did that this morning, so about 8 miles in total, I think. And I live in Wiltshire, the mountains of Wiltshire. But
You've
sort
always
of
managed to get quite a lot of vert.
Yeah, I do live I live near Bath, which does have some hills, and then I do sneak to the Brecon Beacons every now and then, which is where I've done a lot of my UTMB training down the years. So that's where, without that, I think my first UTMB quite a few years back. Well, it only dawned on me the other day actually that I did get rhabdo there. I had brown wee, and it was quite a surprise to my legs. That first UTMB in 2015?
2014? 2015.
Quite a surprise to my legs. So after that, yes, I realised I had to run in more lumps. But I feel like it was a third part to your question I've neglected.
How are you feeling? How did that feel? Not too bad. Asking the legs a question. That's what I always call that sort of session.
Yes, not too bad. So we're speaking about 2 weeks after I ran, coast to coast, which was sort of 39 hours of running slash hobbling slash falling over. And this is about my 4th run, I think. I feel all right. Not 100%, but maybe 90.
Tell us a little bit about what you've just completed, as you touched on it then.
After I ran the Pennine Way last year, I guess I was looking for something similar, and one of my pacers there, Matt Neal, who's a devious type, planted a seed in my ear. He sort of said, "Oh, Coast to Coast has a Mike Hartley record." So for those who don't know, Mike Hartley had the record on the Pennine Way for 31 years, and he had also the record for the Coast to Coast Trail, which I hiked about 15 years ago before I was a runner. So there was a nice symmetry there. It was nice to sort of go back to it as a runner. And the record has stood for 30 years. So I thought it was, well, I was going to say worth a pop, but that sounds like you just turn up and give it a go, whereas quite a lot of planning goes into it. But so I gave that a go, or a pop. And it was successful, but only just. It looked like it was going to be a lot more successful. And then if you really want me to be honest, I messed up quite badly in quite an embarrassing way, my hydration, and got into a state of hyponatremia, which is an exciting new one for me. I thought that really only happened to sort of newbie marathon runners, if I'm honest.
Well, that's when it's always documented at London Marathon, isn't it? Yeah. That's when you hear about it.
Well, actually, someone sent me some research that was done at Spartathlon a few years ago, and it was something crazy like, it's well over 30%, or maybe even 40% of finishers were estimated to have some level of hyponatremia. Now, Spartathlon's a bit of a unique one. I've not done it, but
is that what makes it unique?
But I could see how you might, in the Greek heat, you might, I don't know, drink a bit more, or you're just out for so long. But mine was interesting because we still think I didn't take on any more than 400 milliliters of fluid per hour.
I mean, it's hard to take on more than that.
Yeah.
Really?
The electrolyte sodium debate is a big one, and the science is not all there. But some people really swear by salt, and if I'm honest, I am one of those people. I've had cramps before, and salt seems to help. But I did cut my electrolytes out halfway through because I wanted, I don't know if it's bloated or just full with food. But I just thought I'll cut the electrolytes out for a bit, and then I just forgot to ask for the electrolytes to be put back in. And I'm only guessing, but I think that was, well, at least as important as the amount of liquid, or maybe more so. But one of those two factors, yes, messed me up a bit, and I was just stumbling around like a drunk for the last few hours. I didn't really know what I was doing, if I'm honest, which is kind of hilarious and alarming.
Terrifying, yes.
Yeah, I actually said to my crew at one point, "Where are these people taking me?" The people being my wonderful, wonderful support runners who had, turned up to pace a stranger to and I was like, "Where are we going?"
They were like, "We've heard all about this Damian Hall. He's a nutcase."
Yeah, and the people who joined me on my last leg, they were all people I hadn't met before, so they must have thought, "Yeah, who is this freak?"
I remember when I finished, I'll just drop this one in. I finished the World Championship Triathlon in Kona, and I must have been in the same state, and I was in the medical tent, and I was convinced, I was looking up at the marquee, and they were like pumping me full of drips. This is very normal in an Ironman. And they were like, "Can you tell us where you are?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm at my wedding." Because I could see the marquee, and I was like, "Well, I'm just lying on the floor at my wedding." And what year is it? And I was like, 1979, the year I was born.
Oh, my goodness.
I do kind of get that when you're not being right, but you're not really sure what's happening. Saturday night, but not as much fun.
So yeah, there was something. Yeah, it is a lot like being drunk.
So, but were you ahead of the record before this? Because that's sort of the news I heard on the grapevine, that you were ahead, and then obviously things just unravelled a bit, and
I want to hear more about your second wedding there. That sounds.
He was a hunky doctor.
No wonder you're like, "Let's get married." For quite a while I was about 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours ahead. So I had it. It certainly is never in the bag in this sport, but there was a comfortable buffer.
You were comfortable, yeah.
But in the last few hours, as I got more and more confused, I just almost forgot what I was doing, and I did. I don't know if you remember the same, but yeah, I was getting very weak. I was moving very slowly, falling over quite a lot, or being stopped from falling over. And yeah, I let nearly all of that slip, and only beat the record by 18 minutes. And it was thanks to a couple of people who really said to me really directly, "Look, you're throwing the record away. You've really got to keep moving." But I want to hear more about your thing. So do you know what you did wrong there? Was it simply
I lost a lot of fluid. It was a very hot day, and they weigh you before and after. And I think I was like the classic 60 kilograms before, and then like 52 kilograms at the end of the day. Wow. I'd literally shrunk myself because classic English person flew to Hawaii and thought, "It'll be fine. It's a bit hot. How hard can that be?" So let's go backwards a little bit, because I know Gary wants to ask you some more about sort of FKTs and stuff. What does your life look like now? That's a deep question, but from a few years ago, when you were more you were a journalist who runs, and now would you agree saying now you're much more of a runner who writes about running? And may I say, you write everything I read that you write, it's real, but it's also really funny. Which is a really hard balance to get. What you always write, and I go, "Oh, that is so true," and I laugh out loud at the same time. How has life changed over sort of the last would you say sort of like the last sort of 3 or 4 years?
Well, that's incredibly kind of you. Thank you. Yes, I mean my journey into running, which is still really only you could call it a 10-year journey at most. It's 10 years since my first half marathon. It's been life changing, really. Classic sort of midlife crisis. I think I was 35, 36, signed up for my first half marathon locally. Wasn't a runner before that. I was active. It wasn't like it was a sort of, jumping off the sofa. I used to play a lot of football and liked long distance walking a lot. But I did that first half marathon and loved it, and just thought, I want more of this. And quickly I was doing my first marathon dressed as a toilet, and my first ultra marathon. And yes, I was sort of a journalist. I hardly do any journalism now, simply because coaching, as you're probably finding yourself, just there seems to be such a demand for coaching, and I love doing it so much that I've pretty much put any to be honest, print journalism is a bit of a tangent, but yeah, I mean, it's a declining industry because of, this fad for the internet. I'm pretty sure people get over it soon and it'll die, but it is a bit of a threat to print publication. So it's hard work. It's hard work being a journalist. but you know, yeah, there were certainly worse jobs. But so yeah, I'm like a full-time running coach now, and absolutely love it. And the journey has been wonderful, really. Yeah, I feel incredibly grateful to to running and to all the wonderful people in it. And I just definitely on that first ultra in 2012, I just thought, wow, you know, I want to do more of this. This is I don't know, really rewarding, really eye-opening, really satisfying, a little bit hurty, but that adds to the satisfaction, I think. And yeah, and I wanted to do all the big races straight away, like a lot of people do. And yeah, I was quickly doing the spine race, the Dragon's Back race, UTMB, somehow mostly being uninjured. I guess I did have coaches early on, which probably was helpful. Well, it definitely was.
Are you coached now?
Yes. I've got David Roach looking over my training.
Oh yeah.
We've been together about 18, well, not, you know, together, but, you know, but for about 18 months. For 2 years before that, I was self-coached. And actually I had some of my best results in the first year. And the second year, I think I plateaued a bit. I basically was probably just doing more volume than I needed to, you know, doing more than I had the time. And it was more a case of like sort of, what's that line from Jurassic Park? You know, just because we could, we didn't stop to think whether we should, sort of thing.
Sure,
So
yeah.
I don't think I really got injured well, I didn't get injured, but yeah, I was plateauing, I suppose, and just doing more than I needed to. But
it's so refreshing, isn't it? I have a coach and I love that I don't need to think about my running, and I head out the door and the session's there and I do the session, and it feeds into my coaching because it sort of just adds another dimension, different ideas. And then you have somebody to talk to about your running who is interested. And it's not just yourself having those conversations, because that's starring. I don't know about you, but talking to Eddie about running, and that wasn't good enough. That wasn't, but somebody else to have another look, just like we do for everybody else.
Yes, I think it really helps. So who's your coach?
Jonathan Album.
Oh wow, okay. I didn't even know he was coaching, but obviously incredible athlete.
It only takes very select clientele.
Oh,
but yeah, I work with him. I sort of mainly got in touch with him because I live in the Alps, and so I wanted somebody who could do all sports for me. The winter, understand the mountain terrain, etc., and a really nice guy as well. So,
what about you, Gary? Have you got a coach?
No, I try and get some freebies from Eddie now and again, and the wider community. But self-coach, well,
he's just done a pretty successful BGR. Pretty much.
As soon as I start asking questions,
you credit Eddie.
Well, I sent him the bill. Like that's.
Yeah, self-coach actually. But yeah, I do. If I want some advice, I kind of shoehorn it into the podcast.
Never.
I think, you know, I do have friends who are coached actually, and I've definitely seen the benefit there, but I don't know why. I've just never really went down that route for myself. Yeah.
You're too much of a cowboy, too independent, too much of a maverick.
I think that's what it, you know, sometimes
that choice would imply.
Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, I've seen definitely with this training for the Bob Graham round that me and my group of friends have separated a lot of the time for our training runs, while before all of us would compromise and do something together. But yeah, definitely this time around we've all been a bit more independent, which I suppose, yeah, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the group. If possible, I'd like to go back to your recent course to course, and congratulations. You know, my goodness me, I did some dot watching that weekend, and I think we shared a support room. I'm sure Paul Nelson, who was on my leg 2, also was with you too. So
oh yes, he was brilliant. Yeah. And I think he was pleased to shake off a bit of a hoodoo, because the last 2 support runs he had done, the person had DNF'd on his watch. So I was nervous when he told me that. But
he
thankfully,
didn't tell you that, did he?
Yeah,
straight away.
But after it, I was like, oh, you know, I was thinking whether I'd selected the right. He was absolutely brilliant.
He was good, but
I'm sure he was for you.
Well, yeah, he really he knows leg 2 like the back of his hands. But I'm really interested with the hypernatremia story. Did you do sweat tests and stuff like that, so you kind of had an idea what you should be taking in?
Yeah, so I mean, I must admit, Precision Hydration are a sponsor of mine, which makes it all the more embarrassing. But yeah, I went and had a sweat test with them last year down in Christchurch near Bournemouth, that they identified me as a sort of a salty sweater. I don't necessarily sweat. People sweat different amounts of liquid and then different amounts of salt as well. So you could be a heavy sweater, but not a heavy salty sweater, for example. I don't think I sweat lots of liquid, but I do sweat a fair bit of salt or an above average amount of salt. So they put together a sort of plan for you about how many electrolytes, per sort of soft flask or per litre that you should be taking. And that was working well for me. It's just that, towards the evening time on my FKT, on my coast to coast run, which I started at 6 a.m, and about 8 or 9 p.m, I was just getting a bit kind of full up. What I'm confused about now is whether that was a bloating feeling from liquid or just lots of food. I'd just eaten a load of chips. Don't know how much information you want, but nothing had come out the other end yet. So I'd been piling food in all day. So, maybe I just needed a quick sit down, but for some reason I was getting tired. I said, "Oh, no electrolytes for now," and that feels like, well, the 3 experts I've chatted to don't all agree. That's what makes it confusing. But it feels like that might have been a key moment. Maybe if I'd gone back to them an hour or two later, I would have had that balance or close to that balance again. And then we're trying to work out, because it was quite cool or cold. How much I was really sweating. It's difficult to know. But I did something wrong. It was either too much liquid or getting the balance with the salts wrong, or a bit of both. What I'm horrified to think is that it might have been too much tea. I refuse.
Oh, no, that's scientifically proven. You cannot drink enough tea. You cannot drink enough. I test that every day, and there is never enough time to drink enough tea that your body can absorb.
I am very relieved that you have confirmed that.
Don't put that worry aside.
Oh, thank you. That was my biggest concern. That would be a horrifying moment. Yes, I refuse to believe that. Good for you. So it can't have been that. So
and what's your hydration like at the moment? Are you kind of still enjoying the post-race red wine and stuff like that, or are you knuckling down again? Yeah,
I'm knuckling down again. So I don't tend to drink alcohol for maybe a few months before a sort of key challenge or race, and then I go off the rails for a week or two straight afterwards. It does seem to be the red wine. I like to think antioxidants or something, but it's probably just red wine. I'll have a week or two of being more relaxed. It's not like I'm getting trolleyed every night, but also if you haven't drunk for a few months, then it's quite easy to get.
Like that.
It's quite nice too, isn't it? You reacquaint yourself with your friends that you've neglected for a period of time. That's all. I have a week or two of basically sort of socializing, drinking a little bit, and then usually maybe about 10 days in, 12 days in, I feel really rubbish.
Yeah, you start to not like yourself very much, do you? You're like, no, don't know, no. Yeah. Fun Damian's got to go back.
Back in the box. Back in the box, yes, for another few months. So I'm just at that turning point now, actually. I think on Monday, where are we? Is it Tuesday? Yeah, Monday I'd started on my strength sessions again. Yeah, I've done a strength session again this morning. So that's a key turning point as well. So booze are gone. Yeah, Fun Damian and the booze back in the box, starting the strength sessions. Yeah, I'm back on it.
What do the strength sessions look like? People sometimes do their body weight or maybe lots of repetitions. Some people lift heavy. How do you approach that?
They look pretty comical when I'm doing them. I'm lucky. I've got a couple of people here in Bath. I was working for quite a while with a company called Strength for Endurance. And then now I'm working with a guy called, he calls himself Coach D. And I guess during lockdown, there've been some really good, I suppose, online resources. So I do 2 or 3 times a week. I do a half hour sort of, it is a sort of group morning work. Endurance athletes, and then sometimes I go into the gym now that we can for an hour with him. I've looked at various sort of strength experts and programs, and it does tend to be generally fairly similar. Squats are pretty important, because you've got to shut the physio up when they're always saying you've got weak glutes, aren't they? So
that drives me mad that the people, when a physio says that to me, I'm like, there's just no way my glutes can be weak.
I do wonder if sometimes it's like, it's a runner, must be weak glutes. And I remember actually, Eddie, Sophie Power complimenting your because you coach her or coached her, complimenting your strength work with her phenomenal UTMB run. So you must.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the strength. big fan of the strength work.
Am I right? Oh, this could be wrong. I've been on the fkt.com. Are you currently seven FKTs you still have?
Yes and no. I think I've actually set 8 overall, but how many I still hold? I seem to, this whole lockdown's been great in some ways, but I keep losing FKTs as well. Which
I bet Mike, what's his name? Hartley, he says the same thing.
He's fed up, isn't he?
Not buying his
It's
book.
not been great for him, actually. Yeah, he lost 3 in the last few months, three big ones. I definitely don't hold that many. There's a pesky American guy who lives in the next county who now
he wouldn't come on our podcast, so we don't want to talk about him.
Oh right, so I'm the fastest
run to the hill list.
I beat him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's not watching. We know he's not watching. So have you got any plans on going back to the Pennine win?
I haven't discounted it. I don't think I can do it this year. Is my current thinking. I am in for UTMB. I guess, like a lot of people, we're trying to see if that can happen or not. But yeah, I haven't discounted it. I mean, what he did. I mean, I think we all knew, like, he had a bad run last time with tummy, really bad tummy problems, and he was capable of a much better run. I suppose, if I'm honest, I didn't foresee him knocking 3.5 hours off. That was a little bit humbling, and I'd be like, oh damn.
Yeah.
So I've got to really think about whether I can do that, but I still think it's still very tempting to try, even if I can't. I think it's tempting to try, but I don't think I can fit it in this year, sadly. So he'll be waiting for.
And do you have a favourite, of all the ones that you've done? I know currently still hold the record for, but is there a favourite FKT?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I had the Pennine Way one, it probably was that one. Yeah, if I could just do a little tear quickly. I must admit, when I had the Paddy Buckley record, again, another one I've lost. That was a real sort of surprise because I never saw myself as a fell runner living in Wiltshire. So I was really thrilled when that it was just almost a happy accident, like just an experiment that sort of went right.
Yeah.
So I was very thrilled to have that for about a year and quite surprised. And then you get, they're all a bit different. And that's what's fun about this part of the sport, that you can do them totally in your style. So actually, when I ran with Beth, friend of the show, Beth Pascal, on the Cape Wrath Trail, like that was actually a really wonderful adventure. It's, I think, 4 days of, running in the winter, i.e. the dark, in remote Scotland. And actually, the record we were going for, it was, how do I say this diplomatically?
It was doable.
Yes, it was doable. So it wasn't, I mean, we still worked hard, but it's not like it was stressful. It wasn't like, oh God, we're only 10 minutes ahead. So that was a cracking adventure. And that is almost the best type of FKT, I think, when maybe there's a little less pressure, somewhere a bit more remote and wild, just you and a friend. That was really cool, actually. So to summarize, I haven't really got a good answer to your question.
I'd like to talk to you a little bit about your UTMB story. Obviously, close to my heart, can see Mont Blanc just over the hill from here. Can you tell us a little bit about your sort of history with the race?
I guess, like a lot of people, when you get into the sport, you just keep hearing this initialism all the time, like UTMB, and it just, you can't help wondering what all the fuss is about. And then I sort of had the points, almost by accident. And then I thought, well, I should try this one. It's the one, and you start to read about it. When I went first in 2015, I think it was, I was just blown away by the size of everything. I think it was the scenery, the course. There's nothing like it in Britain in terms of just going up and down big mountains, big painful mountains. The crowds, probably more than anything, it's the crowds are just mind-blowing. I can't, I feel so much gratitude to, I was going to say the French public, but I suppose it's the Italian and Swiss public as well. But especially in Chamonix, that, the welcome you get, the send-off you get, it's just so heartwarming. Admittedly, I've never finished between sort of midnight and 7 in the morning. It may be a bit different in that spell. But yeah, it's just a wonderful atmosphere. And the third big thing, I suppose, is the competition. Like, all the best runners are there. So you can really pit yourself against them. And so straight away, I just thought, this race really smashed me up, but I've got to come back, got to try it again.
Did your first one do you over? Because you still had a top 30 finish, didn't you? Which is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I misjudged it a bit, and I just wasn't really ready for big mountains like that. I'd done the Dragon's Back race that year, which is an amazing event, but it's not like 1 kilometer climb, 1 kilometer descent, 1 kilometer climb, 1 kilometer descent. And yeah,
repeat.
Yeah, that really hurt my legs. As I think a lot of British runners find. So yeah, I thought, right, I'm going back next year, I'm going to train properly. So that's when I started going to Brecon Beacons. I think it was that year I went to I copied Jez Bragg's trademark Snowdon session, and you go up to Snowdon, which you can do a kilometer up and a kilometer down, and you've got all these different paths to make it less boring. And I think I went up 4 times in one day. And as a sort of peak sort of training week, I think that helped. And I was stronger that second time around, improved a bit, but still had this sense of I could improve again. And basically 4 years in a row, sort of just always came away with this wonderful feeling from the race, but always this nagging sense of I could do something better either in the training or in the race. And until I got
I feel like your last attempt, the 4th attempt when you finished 5th, from what I saw afterwards, you really did, you put your all into that race, your sort of focus, your training, and it all came together in the day. Would that be right?
Yeah, I think so. There were a couple of things. I mean, one is, to be honest, there were a lot more DNFs that year, which was great for me. It was nice British weather. Admittedly, actually, the year before there weren't many DNFs, and that was actually more uncommon. I would say it's quite common for there to be, that many DNFs. But the year before, I snuck into 10th place quite near the end and thought, oh my goodness, I'm in the top 10 at UTMB, and then I let it slip. Purely, I think, just not enough calories, and I came in 12th, which I still, would have been happy with, but because I've been in 10th, I just had
on that stage. I could have been on that stage.
Yes, exactly. So I think all year I had that nagging thing in my head.
Yes, I want to be on that stage.
Really helped me.
Yeah.
I think both in training and in the race. And when I got to the same position again, it was classic sort of, I don't want to say Hollywood, but like, I'm not going to make the same mistake.
Gel.
It pretty much was, yeah. And it was, hugely rewarding to do better. I mean, the truth is, my times, they tweak the course. People might not be aware, they tweak the course a bit every year, depending on the weather and things. So it's like my times aren't actually that much different, actually, between 12th and 5th. The course is slightly different. The time's 30 or 40 minutes different, but not actually hugely different. So I could run again a similar time and be 12th again. But that year it worked out, and it was exciting.
I know a lot of people in England, I'm just starting to, probably you are as well, get clients ready for maybe UTMB, fingers crossed UTMB. What are your sort of top tips, if you have any, for people that are looking to train for that sort of mountain race but live in the lowlands of England?
I think understandably, people who don't have many hills almost get too obsessed with hills. I would say work on your general principles of training, like get nice and aerobically fit first, get fast. Don't neglect those two things. They're still going to be pretty much the most important. And then we do need some hill or mountain running, but that only has to, you don't need months of that, I would say. I think maybe even, sort of 6 weeks, 8 weeks out is maybe the key to those adaptations. Apparently come and go quite quickly. Like, the muscle adaptations from running downhill. So I wouldn't get too obsessed with that, but certainly you need to do a spell of that before the race. And really, if you do live in sort of the southeast, if you times or Snowdonia is a good one. I mean, what I used to do, instead of neglect sort of family time, I used to sort of book half a day off work and sort of get up at 4 or 5. Go and get the run in and still be back at my desk, or at least my home desk.
Useless. Useless for anybody.
Oh yes. All the tea.
I'm just logging on. I'm logging on. Don't make me.
Yes. Yeah. And then you're crashing again by 3 or 4.
I often, if I am helping people that are London based or something, I'm like, the planning. You know, exactly as you say, let's get you to be the best runner, and then let's just plan in these weekends away. You need to, but that's the key, isn't it? Book that time out, book it out from family, take a day off work. And you can, I mean, to Snowdonia from London is drivable. The drive home might be a bit emotional, but there is access to those trails. And the other thing, did you do any work on the treadmill?
I I don't think I did back then, because I have got little local hills. I did do like little hiking workouts sort of thing, but a treadmill could be really useful. And definitely, you know, we touch on strength work. I think that's pretty much, you know, crucial actually. Crucial for people. And you're not just getting strong for the race, you're getting strong for your training as well. I think, you know, you're preparing yourself for some mountain running if you're not used to mountain running. But it is those long descents that you know, it'd be interesting to see if you see it any differently. But yeah, those long descents, we're just not really used to them in Britain, and there's time and time again. But also,
well, I did my first long descent yesterday, 1,000 meters descent yesterday, and then yesterday afternoon, and then I sort of sat down and worked a bit, and I got up and I was like, Holy Mary, my quads hurt. And because I in the winter I'd ski down, so I don't need my quads. Oh yeah, I was like, I got some downhill work to be done. And I wasn't even going fast. Dear Lord. Yeah, the downhills are pain.
They're the ones that tend to hurt us. But also, yeah, become a good power hiker. Do use poles. I would say, you know, practice. You can be really efficient. You know, you can move really efficiently, you know, being a good hiker, getting that rhythm. But yeah, I'd love to know what you think. How else would you do anything different to that?
No, I totally agree. I think becoming a robust runner is what it's all about. And yeah, your hiking, you can work on your hiking as well. Bit of a weighted vest hike. I'm quite a big fan of that too.
Yeah, I like that.
And if you've got kids, I do that quite a lot with the mums or dads, like make it a picnic, you know, but put some sugar in your backpack and off you go. And practicing with we call them the bâtons out here, but practicing with your poles, your ups and your downs.
Sticks, some people
And
call
it's totally doable. It just takes planning. It just takes much more planning than if you're like me and I can just go out and run up and down.
Yeah, I used to do exactly that, and I will do this year. Of often Fridays are my long run day actually, and yeah, I put it in my calendar before anything else comes up. No long run in Brecon Beacons that day, long run in Snowdonia that day. I mean, everyone's got different priorities and so on, and obviously, you know, a lot of people listening are probably only doing it for leisure, I suppose, and we're trying to be good at this stuff. But yeah, I think you do need, I would say, at least 3 sort of quality mountain days. But don't neglect your speed and your running economy first, and then you translate that to the hills, I think.
I remember listening to a podcast. It was Jason Coops, and I think he got asked the question quite often, how do you train if you don't live somewhere that's hilly? And I think he basically said, you know, get fit first. That was worry about the hills afterwards. You can be a bit more specific closer to the time if you know you're kind of challenged with where you live geography wise. But yeah, get fit will trump most other things. Yes.
No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, it's almost like, say, for Marathon des Sables, like going out running on sand with your pack before you're fit and fast sort of thing. You want to get that fitness and speed, that economy first. And then it's all easier as well. So
and then you just buy the hat, don't you? Don't you just buy that hat?
I'm pretty sure that's all you need. That's all you need.
I might get a free one after all this. Can we talk about? We go back to your book. Actually, I really like the title. Not a bit of a play on words, quite a heavy play on words. Were you tempted to go all out 18 certificate, or leave it with the?
Yes, good question. Very tempted. I think I wouldn't say it came down to a marketing decision, but I think there was an element of some people just call it FKT or well FKT'd or something like that. So we have still used the
I only just got it.
Eddie, so innocent.
I'm a good Catholic girl, me. I was like, what are they talking about? I think that's a really good title.
But yes, for a while, working title was pretty much that.
You probably felt like that a few times, maybe writing it.
Yes, no, there were 2 all-nighters. Certainly the wheels fell off towards the end. Maybe I started a bit fast. Fell apart, but I just tumbled.
Gels, tea.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly.
Is there the audiobook option too? Actually,
yes, I believe there will be. I should double check when, because a few people ask for that. Runners do like to listen to things, don't they?
And are you going to voice it?
I believe Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh.
No, I don't know.
Denzel Washington, Samuel L.
Yeah,
Jackson. You haven't decided.
Morgan Freeman, he's another one.
I think Stephen Fry wants it as well.
He's desperate.
I believe there's quite a bidding war. Yeah.
David Williams, but you said no to him. No.
No, I don't know who's doing it, but I've been told I'm not, which is the best for all concerned.
From what I
do sound a
hear,
little bit posh, don't I? So that might not appeal to everyone.
I think it's like I'm a Jason Coop fanboy, but he has just done the audio for his book, and he said he'd never do it again. So.
Oh really? I wonder if that takes days. I don't know.
Oh, days, because you can't even breathe. Who was it? Angie Andrews we were talking to about her book and Martin Yelling. She was like, he did it. He did it. It took him like 4 weeks. Can you tell us a little bit about the writing process, Damian? How did you find, did it come naturally? Because you hear about like writer's block. And I know if I've got something to write for like a magazine article or something, I can't write it until I have the deadline, and then the inspiration comes, and then that might just be me. But did you find that, or did it sort of flow?
No, there was definitely that. The deadlines are powerful things, aren't they?
Aren't they just?
And I did miss 2, if not 3, which made me feel like a cool author, because all the cool authors, they always miss their deadlines, don't they? Douglas Adams, what did he used to say? I love the whooshing sound a deadline makes as it goes by, I think he said. Yeah, no, it was a battle. I guess I feel quite lucky in that I had these sort of magazine stories down the years of like my first UTMB, so I could refer to that and sort of rewrite it, or make myself sound better than I did back then and stuff. But yeah, there were it was the deadline. The deadlines were, and it was all over Christmas, and we just moved house as well, actually. So it was, and I was trying to. Well, this is exactly what I'd tell my clients not to do. But yeah, I was going to do the spine race as well. So I was training for the spine, moving house, trying to write this book, staying up all night for that. Yeah, one of those things was not going to go well. It was
Think of those stresses, Gary. You couldn't do that.
I went to some business, it was the school, it was a seminar, and they presented you with a triangle, and you could only ever achieve 2 items on the triangle at once. I think it was cost, speed, and quality.
They weren't parents, weren't they? Because I have like some sort of like hexagon pentagon.
So apart from you dressed up as a toilet, what can people expect from the book?
Well, it's even more boring than listening to me here.
It's our podcast.
Oh, wow.
It's horribly, disgustingly self-indulgent. I guess it's my story. There's probably a bit too much of pre-running days, but it's my story of, I suppose just, I don't know, falling in love with running later in life and all that it's given me, I suppose. It's pretty much the same. It's like I sign up for big race, bit scared of big race, goes quite well, then it doesn't go so well, but I got it done. I wouldn't buy it, to be honest. I wouldn't bother.
You make it all sound very very attainable, which I like. You don't make it sound pretty, which ultra running isn't pretty, but you do word it, and that you make all these amazing feats sound like, well, anybody can do this. I've just put my mind to it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that is kind of what I think. Do you think of it that way? I mean, this stuff is.
Well, you make me think I can do it. I'm like along the journey, and I'm like, I could do this. This sounds fun. I mean, a bit dirty and a bit, but which I think is a craft of your writing.
Well, you're very kind, and I'm probably guilty of glamorizing the sort of.
No, I don't think you do glamorize it, because I think there's a lot of books out there that are glamorized, and it's not. It's real, but it's also like kind of like, yeah, this is great.
Well, I do love this stuff. It is brilliant. I would, it just seems to really, something about it really suits me in my mentality. I love these, like, I guess one of the themes I've tried to put in the book is almost like I grew up with this sort of almost hero complex of, like, I don't know, reading about Robin Hood and King Arthur and Lord of the Rings, and those stories really stuck in my head, actually. And those people who did those long endurance, Scott of the Antarctic, they were heroes to me. I guess I've tried to have a more rounded view of what a hero is in the book, with a couple of examples. But like, when we do these challenges, they're actually relatively safe unless you drink too much. There's this whole support team around you. Normally, you can have these adventures where you really put yourself out there for maybe 24 hours or 2 days or even a week or something. But really, it's a lot safer than, I don't know, crossing the Arctic or something a bit more extreme. But you can have these mini adventures, I don't know, 3 times a year, 4 or 5, yeah, I hesitated there. I had my coach's hat on. Yeah, 3 times a year is
It's fine.
some B races maybe, but 3 times a year. Yeah, it's just wonderful that you can go and sort of almost bash yourself up, have a sort of feel. I almost try to say at the book, have a kind of authentic experience, because you're not polite when you do these things necessarily. The layers of the onion get peeled back, and it's the real you underneath it, and it's not always pretty. But we almost need these experiences, I think, of like feeling kind of real or authentic or what we really like. And yeah, it's not always pretty, but I feel like I need these things 2 or 3 times a year, just to I don't know how it benefits me, but hopefully I'm a better person for it. Who knows? Maybe I'm not, but
Absolutely. And I always feel when I've gone and done something, then I just go back and I just go and collect the kids from school, and I'm like, everyone's just there, and it's normally like nobody knows where I've been and what I've done, but you feel a little bit superhuman in a sort of like, so many other people don't have these experiences, and you kind of put yourself out there where loads of people will never feel like that. Talking about the school gates, I'm going to have to go. I'm really sorry.
Okay.
Damian, Gary's going to carry on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lovely to
lovely to meet you. So lovely to meet you.
Will you be at Chamonix?
I will be. I go around Mont Blanc next week, actually. But there's a lot of snow. Got my crampons. But I'm not doing any of the races this year. Which I might try and get a place if no Brits can come. I might be Damian Hall. His worst ever finish. But I hope to be out. So I hope we can see face to face.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Yes. Well, thank you. Yes. Wonderful to chat.
Yes, you too.
Okay.
Shall I stop the recording? Shall I stop my recording, Gary?
Yeah, okay. I'll keep mine going.
You keep yours going. All right. Bye, Damian. Bye, Gaza.
Bye.
Take
care.
I think it was interesting, you said about make you a better person, I suppose. But it's not just the running, it's almost like it exposes people to other aspects of things. I know you kind of advocate for being carbon neutral, which is probably something that had become more on my radar from listening to other podcasts when you've been on. From a carbon neutral point of view, any simple things that people could do that would be a big help?
Yes. Yeah, I find I'm sort of hugely passionate about this area, but there's a lot of complexity to it, and I'm fully aware I might get some things wrong, but I'm it all comes from the right place in that I'm personally really sort of stressed about our climate and ecological emergency, and scientists say we need to reduce global emissions by 45% this decade, and it's just not happening. The government. I'll try not to get on a rant, but
no, go on it.
Our government, for example, solar panels. I don't know. You pay a lot more VAT on solar energy than you do on, say, coal, which makes no sense at all. Coal is absolutely the worst thing. But so I think there is a line to be drawn between sort of personal responsibility and sort of government and corporations and what they can do, and they can do so much more. So I think I'd actually almost say to people, if you've got 10 minutes a week to think about this or donate to the, I would almost, try and pressurize. It's still worth writing to your local MP, vote certain ways, but there aren't that many elections. Get involved with Greenpeace or Extinction Rebellion or any movements that you feel are helping. Those bigger movements are going to have more impact. However, almost for want of wanting to do more, I've looked a lot at my own sort of personal footprint and worked with a company called Our Carbon, who sort of do almost a carbon audit. And that was really interesting. Now, for almost everyone, there are the 3 key areas if they want to look at their own personal footprint. But the idea of a personal footprint was invented by BP. So although I've made improvements there, I don't necessarily think we're all going to have to change a bit. But I don't think people should feel totally pressured to give up the cars and give up all their foreign holidays necessarily. But for nearly everyone, the 3 areas are going to be the energy for their sort of home or business, their diet, and their travel habits. They're going to be the 3 areas. That's going to be 3/4 to 80% of most people's carbon. Now, your energy is actually a really quick and easy thing to change to a renewable energy supplier online, someone like Ecotricity or Bulb or Pure Planet. You can do it in a few minutes and even save some money. So that's really easy. You've got 1/4 of your footprint radically improved just like that. So the other 2 areas, big areas for people, are going to be, your diet. And I think most people know now, beef is twice as bad as anything else. And lamb's the next worst, and then dairy all comes highly on a sort of emissions score. So if you can reduce that, you're improving there. And then the other one is travel, and the big one obviously is flights. Obviously, lots of us have flown less lately, so that's been relatively easy to improve. And I must admit, my big weakness when it comes to all this is car journeys. If I'm going to go and train the Brecon Beacons to be able to compete at UTMB, it's not impossible to use a train, but it's just so many more hours. I can't actually get to the best points where I'm going to get to. Like, so I've taken that. I find it really frustrating, but I do offset all of that, but I still feel quite conflicted. I want to afford an electric car. It's not affordable at the moment. And again, the government should be helping. They should be making electric cars affordable to people who want to. Should be subsidising that more. So I've waffled a lot there, but they're three things within the running world. I mean, there are two fantastic organisations. Well, there are lots, but Trees Not Teas are getting a lot of deserved attention. So when you sign up for a race, most races now will offer you a chance to plant a tree instead of taking another T-shirt, and the T-shirts are surprisingly.
It's Jim Mann, isn't it? The Trees Not Teas, is that correct?
Say that one again. Sorry, Jim Mann. Yes.
Yes.
So record-breaking fellow and ultra runner Jim Mann is behind that, and he's incredibly busy. They're mushrooming, taking lots of new staff on, incredibly in demand, doing great things inside of running and far wider as well. So that links nicely to Rerun Clothing, who's Dan Lawson and his wife, organization, and they're really trying to spread awareness. The number one thing is we're almost all consuming too much, buying too many things. And I'm human too. Sometimes you see a new version and you think the new version is worth getting when really it isn't. And I'm not going to pretend I never do that, but I'm trying to be better at it. But also their message is, the most sustainable kit is the kit you already have now. So if you can make that last longer, and I appreciate there's some contradiction there because I'm representing Innovate, and of course, I'm part of, they support me because they think I'm going to help sell more stuff. So I hold my hand up about that. I try and be a lot more responsible on social media than I used to be. It's very rare I'll say, you guys should buy this. I wouldn't ever assume I had that much influence anyway, but I'm a lot more careful with things like that. I'm trying harder to, soak it up, use it for longer, glue things together. So
I think Dan's ultimate goal is for his service not to be needed, isn't it? That's it's great to have somewhere to send your stuff, but he'd rather that we didn't need to keep sending you T-shirts.
Yes, absolutely. And I hadn't thought about the T-shirt issue before they started raising it, but probably like most runners, we got probably a drawer full of T-shirts or half a drawer that we're not using, or and there can be some homes found for those, but not as many T-shirts are being as produced. But also Dan and Charlotte would say, at the end of a race, even if they haven't signed up for Trees Not Teas or something, maybe just politely say, I don't need T-shirts, and hopefully that message gets back, because we're often handed a T-shirt at the end of some races without really thinking. We just take it, and I'm trying to remember to do that, for example. So consumption, but those are the three things for individuals anyway. It's kind of diet, travel, and energy.
I do feel sometimes a little frustrated, say if you purchase things from a supermarket, whatever, that you're saying about the kind of big businesses that they are still allowed to produce, say, single-use plastics and stuff like that, and then we're demonized sometimes for not recycling appropriately and these other aspects of our lives. But if the corporate people got involved, my goodness me, that would make such a big difference.
Yes, and that's very frustrating. It's just not fair on us, is it? Because they should be stopped from using certain plastics, or banned from creating this problem. But again, we do have a role somewhere in the middle as consumers, and we can be more sort of careful. But I totally agree that it's not all on us whatsoever. But I would say, think about where you're spending your money. Support companies who seem to be doing the right thing. But I imagine most people are doing that anyway. But lots and lots. What's exciting is I do see lots of new companies, lots of new brands. I've been working with a few sort of nutrition brands, I suppose, who are doing good things with packaging. Vegan products in compostable outdoor provisions. They do sponsor me, but they make vegan bars that taste really good in compostable wrappers, for example. And I've got a few nutrition sponsors, and it is hard for them because so often if they go for some sort of compostable packaging, the product won't last as long.
Yeah.
And it's more expensive. So that's, often it's going to really cost them. And of course, if they end up going out of business or having a, massive profit, then it's hard. So I do understand that. And, but I guess, if we can support those sorts of companies who we can see making an effort, that's something as well. So sorry, that was quite ranty, but
no, it's fine. I enjoy kind of listening to people's opinions because I think, like I mentioned earlier, it just exposes you to different ideas that you maybe never had. So yeah, I'm sure our listeners will take something away from that. We're going to kind of go to the opposite end now. We often ask our guests, if they were to binge maybe on Netflix or something. Some of our guests don't have TVs, so it's quite a short answer to the question. But yeah, what was the last thing that you enjoyed on TV?
Yeah, I don't have a TV, but I do have obviously have a laptop, and we do use BBC iPlayer sometimes. I did watch Line of Duty. I did get into that. It's quite rare I get into something, but yeah, Line of Duty was pretty good. That was pretty good drama. I'm not really into police crime stuff, detective stuff, but that was good. That was good.
And what would be your treat then if you're in the kind of deep in training, so you're not on the wine or the chocolate or whatever? Yeah, what would you nibble on?
I always have a tub of nuts and raisins. And it's cashews, raisins, and then the almonds are salted and roasted, and that to me is the perfect combination. I nearly always have a tub on the go, and just cut a few handfuls in the morning, a few in the afternoon. That's quite a good. But you asked more about treats, really, weren't you? I've got a sweet tooth. Yeah, I'm very much into. I like cake. Yeah, I like cake and chocolate, but it's quite rare. It's quite rare I'll go a day without any of those items. If I'm honest.
Is it Sabrina Vijay? She really loves a blondie. That's a kind of go-to cake. Very popular.
Okay, I mean, because I'm quite new to be honest, I'm quite new to kind of plant-based. Well, a year or so plant-based sort of eating. So I'm still exploring. I'm quite lucky. I've got a friend down the road who has a company called Deluscious Treats on Instagram, and he makes. Yeah, he's amazing. He kind of makes me treats.
Oh, wow.
Vegan millionaire shortbread I've got downstairs, and in fact, you're making me hungry now. And some dates in chocolate with an almond on top. So yeah, as soon as we stop talking, I'm gonna go and tuck in. Actually, I think.
You seem to be a tea advocate. Would you ever go over to the coffee, or is it?
No. How dare you? No, I love tea too much. It'd feel like a betrayal.
Cheating on the tea. What brand of tea? Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I guess down the years I've changed a bit, but the last few years I really like Clipper.
Okay, yeah.
I do like Yorkshire tea, but they do bleached. Those tea bags are bleached. What I've realised is, some tea bags have plastic in, and some are, the really white ones have been bleached, which doesn't sound great. I don't actually know how bad that is, but Clipper aren't bleached and they're organic, I think, and stuff like that. So yeah, and they taste good. So Clipper.
Excellent. Well, that's nearly it from me, Damian. Plans for 2021, assuming that we can race and travel 2021 and 2022. Anything coming up that you can share at least?
Yes. I hope to do UTMB if it's on. It sounds like, I feel like they're going to put something on, but it'll depend on our own country's sort of travel regulations and so on. And then I do have a postponed place in the Spine race for January, so I guess I'll be back on my good old friend the Pennine Way in January.
Excellent.
So they're my next two things.
And where would be the best place if people want to purchase the book? Is there any best place to do that?
The best place, I do have a link in my Instagram profile which goes to the publishers, and the publishers are selling it at 20% off, so it's the same as Amazon price. So my publisher is Vertebrate Publishing.
Okay.
I think it's just V-Publishing, but you can either find that link or Google them if anyone wants to buy it. But yeah, if you buy it, that would be wonderful, because then they get more from it, and they're only a little sort of independent publishers in Sheffield. So they took a punt on me, and very grateful to them. And they also it's possibly the world's first carbon neutral negative book. Actually, we can't be sure, but they made a real effort they analysed the inks they were using, the paper, the whole distribution process, and improved it where they could. So I'm really grateful and proud of them for doing that. So great bunch.
Excellent. Well, forward me the information and we'll pop the links in the show notes so people can get there really quick. Thank you very much, Damian. I've had a treat. I always have a treat chatting to our guests. It's fantastic that people share the time with us. Take care and all the best from everybody at Run to the Hills.
Thank you ever so much. Take care.
Thank you so much, Damian, for coming on the show, sharing all those top tips, tricks, and all your stories so far. You can grab his book, In It for the Long Run, on all your normal platforms or at your local bookshop or even on your Kindle. Recommend it to everybody.
You sounded like a public service announcement then.
Sometimes feel like that
Even
when I'm
your
saying
Kindle.
the same thing to the children 800 times. You remember that, like the Mind the Gap, when they're saying, you are welcome.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could just put this on a loudspeaker because nobody listens to me anyway.
I know.
Wow, let's talk races. Not a huge amount of well-known races coming up this weekend, a little bit quieter. We've got the Dragons 100-mile and 50-mile race down in Wales on the Welsh coast.
Yeah, some lovely coastal paths. That'll be lovely.
Get your Welsh cakes at the checkpoints for that one.
Don't write in, listeners, please. Accent police.
My father's Welsh. I think that's quite good Welsh accent. No,
That is very good, actually.
gone slightly international. What else? What's the other one we want to talk about?
The Lower Borrowdale Skyline. They've got a 10K. If I've got this correct, they've got a 10K, 20K, and a 50K. And I think the 50K is about just under 2,000 meters of gain. So that's pretty good, isn't it? What's that? So let's do a quick maths then. 369, it's about 9,000 feet. Is that right? A bit over that?
No, it's not 9,000 feet.
Is it 3 feet in a meter?
3,300 feet to 1,000 meters.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, 6. Yeah, I've got my 2s and my 3s muddled up. That's twice. I always get my maths wrong, don't I?
It's all right, Gary.
I've got a maths GCSE. Actually, it's one of the things I did pass at school.
I've got maths GCSE, yeah, but that was like 40 years ago. Was it? You didn't do GCSEs. It was O levels, wasn't it?
No, I was GCSE. Not that old.
What you get right. Let's talk about this week coming up. Don't tell me that you're doing anything apart from.
Well, you've seen the script, surely, being the professional you are. I
don't like to follow it for myself. I like to be treated with.
Tim put out a virtual Lakeland 100 carrot on social media. He shared one of it's like a fundraiser basically for the Epic
I'm
Kids.
tilting my head at more and more of an angle about this. Yes, carry on, Gary.
Well, yeah, I've signed up for the virtual 100 miler, which it's got to be done over a week. It's not. So it starts on Wednesday, and I think I've got a week to do it. You know what? Taking part, if I don't complete it, the kids, it's still fun. It's a fundraiser, so it's fine. I'll do what I do.
That's fine. Your body will be fine because it's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
What part of really easy week and 100 miles in a week?
Well, it's Wednesday it starts, so it's like easy 10 days if I draw it out. But I might go to the cinema too, which is something I've not done in about 18 months.
You have to run to the cinema.
Yeah.
What? I love the cinema. Oh my God, I love it.
I do. Yeah, it's magic, the cinema. I never get tired of cinema.
Now, snack a choice at the cinema.
I love the old sweet and salted popcorn. I like a Magnum.
For the mix.
Yeah.
Oh, big, like it. Small.
I'm a bit mean, so if the bigs get quite expensive.
Expensive. Do you get a drink too? Because.
Yeah, on salmon smacking again.
Salmon smacking. Get a drink?
Well, again, this is because I'm really mean. I will probably take my own stuff into the cinema, Eddie. Unless it's a birthday or something special. I'll do that. I'll take one of. Yeah, I'll have a drink, a pop, a Coke or something as a treat. I like the nachos. Oh, Black Widow. I like it. It's like a Marvel one of the Marvel ones. The Scarlett Johansson's character.
Oh, I get it.
What? What are you saying?
Oh, what? I just reread the story.
Yeah. What about you then? Your taper?
Well, I'd quite like to get. We do have a cinema in Morsine. It's not open. It's not open very often, but it's just one screen, and you go in and you buy your ticket. There's a guy opens up the door. No one can like come, and we literally go in. Often we're the only people in this place, or everybody's in there. Like we have a big WhatsApp and like let's all go, and the kids just run feral because everybody sort of knows each other, and you give them like when they were younger, I used to give them their tea in like a packed lunchbox, and they would just go. They like to sit right at the front, and I sit right at the back, and I take a nap because not only is it a kids' film, but it's in French. Because nobody could and you could never do that in a British cinema and just let your kids. They literally just eat. They just run around. It's like totally. It's amazing.
I wouldn't be happy if you're in the cinema next to me.
No, but then there's nobody in there. Like nobody goes. But I don't think it's open yet. But if it is, definitely go.
Are the movies like about 5 years old or are they current?
Ooh, often random.
Right.
They open it. This is again, I love it. They open it for a week when the kids normally break up before Christmas, and it's their like school outing, and they show some random French film, and they never tell us they're going, and they just come back and they're like, "We went to cinema, Mum. We watched this film." I'm like, "I'm sure I watched that in like the 1980s." They love it. Obviously, being deprived kids, they think it's great. It's tape a week, so a little session tomorrow, and a little run session on Thursday. Lots of little short sessions, a little bit of biking. I like to do quite a little bit of core to keep that activated, bit of glute work, start the mental preparation of the Hurt Locker, and just try and rest. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty tired after the football. 2 late nights.
I thought you were going to mention it.
I thought we should. And we're not going to talk about it because it's over. But I can't do those late nights. Oh my God.
So what would be a session for you? I always say my little 2 mile at marathon pace effort, or the 5 times 3 minutes. What's your
so tomorrow I've got a little warm up. So I'm going to I always like to do my last, this isn't a session in any way, but it's like the last little tune up at the same time that the race starts. So I'll get up at the same time that I would race. I won't wear my kit because I don't want to wash it again. So I just go out on the trails. I'm going to do 4 by 3 minutes at race pace. I'll probably do one with on the flat, and then I'll do one climbing just to get that feel, one descending to keep that elasticity in the muscles, and then one back. Always make sure the last one's slightly downhill so you feel really good.
Yeah.
So that will be my last session tomorrow, and then I'll just do a couple of easy bikes just to keep the blood flow, keep moving, and then Thursday little 20-minute jog, and Friday will be some strides, of which normally I feel terrible and feel like I've never run before, and that's just normal. So I'm doing a lot less than I normally would, but again, this is different. This is new Eddie. This is Eddie 2021, and so I'm
rebooted.
Eddie rebooted. I think this is good though, because I think a lot of the time I've overtrained myself and not given myself enough rest. And I have to respect the fact I've got the kids here.
Yeah.
And so there's not the day, even though I'm not running, I'm like, right, let's go, let's do this, let's do that.
Yeah. Aspirations?
Get round strong, feel good. I'd love to do the climbs. I've been working so hard on my climbing. I'd love to do well to be able to run more of the climbs. And just, I've done a lot of training of hurting myself, which I haven't done that. And actually was thinking about this. I used to, when I was younger and back in my triathlon days and at my initial ultra running days, I was able to put myself in the Hurt Locker a lot without fear. I just go. I would just do, yeah. I did my best results on, I just raced with heart, and I didn't worry about injury, anything. I just ran as hard as I could, and the outcome was what it was. And often I would be dying. I would die in the closing stages, but I've got enough brawn to keep going. And then I think after having Evie, I lost a lot of that because it was so hard coming back after a third pregnancy and with 3 kids. And I kept getting injured, and I think I lost that fearlessness. So that's what I want to race with like, just go for it.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens. And let's just enjoy it. As my husband said, God's sake, woman, just enjoy it. You know, it's a bit short for me, but still I think we like maybe 6 hours, maybe 7 hours.
Yeah.
But a lot of climbing. So I'm just gonna smile. Think of you, Gary.
Always smiling.
Always smiling, always chipper.
Well, best of luck, Eddie. I mean that.
Thanks. I'm telling you, all people will be tuning in next week to hear every single second. Yeah. Let's do a shout out for the competition.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for everybody who's popped over to YouTube. We've had a little rise in our subscribers, which is fantastic, and quite a few comments. So so basically pop over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, or follow us. I'm not too sure what the actual term is these days in YouTube. I think they changed it because maybe that's iTunes.
Oh, because your follow is what?
But I think the word subscribe might imply that you actually pay something for it when it's not. It's completely free to.
Yeah, don't pay for this.
No, you don't pay for it. But yeah, if you also comment on show 45, which has already gone out, and 46, which is this show, with the word Chia Charge, and we will pick a random on the 27th of July, and you will win a box of Chia Charge goodies.
I think I'm slightly dry on the old Chia Charge. I'm not sure I topped up after my Mont Blanc tour, where I ate maybe 8,000 Chia Charge bars. I might have to call in a helicopter to him and say, stroke me up. Though actually on those shorter races, it will be gels and tailwind. I don't think there'll be too much heavy breathing to actually.
I enjoyed it as my little breakfast supplement on the way to the race on Saturday.
Such a good pre-race.
Sea salt flapjack classic.
It doesn't then come back for the next to the race.
Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to get my box of goodies and hope the kids haven't got in there. Right, take it easy. Look after yourself. Do lots of nice miles with Rex.
Yeah. We've got another dog at the moment. My sister's gone to Scotland. So we've got Elsie for a few days. She's not as active as Rex.
Oh no, she come to boot camp and she like, oh no. Elsie does not go running with Rex.
And she goes up on the bed. Rex doesn't go on the bed, and she got on the bed yesterday.
What did Rex do?
Nothing. He was all right, actually. And then she came to work today. I've got a little workshop where I was doing my bits and bobs, and she was in Rex's bed, the cheeky bugger. He's so good. He's so good-natured, Rex, though. He's all right.
Yeah. Hey, Rex, he's like you. He's like, if you need it, you have it, my love. Don't worry. You have a nice holiday. You'll be gone soon.
Yeah. On Wednesday, you're out of here.
Right. Have a good week. Don't overdo it.
I won't. And best of luck to you, Eddie. I'm sure all our listeners will be rooting for you.
So you just want good content there, like.
That was episode 46. Again, I had a lovely chat, a lovely catch up with Eddie. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. My name is Gary Thwaites.
I'm Eddie Sutton.
And let's run to the hills.